Welcome back to another Countercharge live stream. This is something we've been talking about for a little bit. We have a lot to cover tonight. We're going to talk Masters, best of the rest, talk about the firefight stuff that we've got going on at best of the rest. I mean, Night Stalker stuff dropped today, so we probably need, we've got some people out here that may know something about it. May have to ask him a few questions on that. Not Travis. Yeah, he wouldn't play Night Stalkers. There's no defense. There's not enough defense 5 in the list for him. But, But welcome to the show, guys.
Too much stealthy.
I was going to say, there's enough defense 5 and goblins for him? I don't understand this.
So is he giving up the goblins? Because, he's with the Northern Alliance and now the Riftforged Orcs. Is he just done with goblins? Because he did everything he can do?
No, he hasn't. He's fallen just short of everything he could do a couple of years in a row. So,
has anybody ever been the master with goblins?
Nope.
No, not that I can think of. No.
Interesting. Somebody should do a study and put the stats together of what armies were used. I mean, I know obviously Night Stalkers, right?
We know first year was undead with goblin allies. So
that's okay.
Yeah, that is true.
Then dwarves. After that, it was Brad McKay's Twilightkin, orcs. Then it was herd, and then Night Stalkers.
Yep, it's been fairly diverse.
Yeah, it's been a good mix. Yeah. Well, where do we even want to start, Adam? You want to maybe touch on how signups are going for the event coming up?
Yeah, sure. So for Masters, we got rosters almost finalized. There's just a couple of spots that are being fixed up for a couple regions, but best of the rest is looking pretty awesome right now, and pretty diverse, honestly. We got 36 players for best of the rest. We got about 10 mountain, 10 south, a good 8 or 9 Midwest, another 8 or 9, or maybe a little bit less from the Southeast. But yeah, we got a really great start to the best of the rest event, and there's a lot of names I know are coming that just aren't even on here yet. So 36 right now, we're probably looking at mid to upper 50s, maybe even breaking 60 at this point, which would put us at around 120 total players for the event. It's pretty awesome.
That's really awesome. And just as a reminder, head over to Tabletop Score. Just do a search for Best of the Rest, right? It shall come up here, Best of the Rest in U.S. Masters 2023. You'll make an account if you don't already have one, and then all the pertinent details is there, the hotel, local restaurants, what you want to have in terms of food, because there's a survey for food. You can pay for it. It's got the paint rubric. It's one-stop shop for everything you need to know about the event.
Yep.
It slices. It dices.
But does it slap chop is the question.
It makes julienne fries.
But yeah, it's awesome. So right around 100 players so far. That's
sweet. Exactly 100 players right now.
And maybe there's a few more to come.
Oh, there's definitely more than a few coming. So
yeah,
I know Mountain Region alone has about 5 or 6 people that I'm constantly pestering until they either pay me or sign up. So.
Well, and I think we have 4 or 5. I know for sure Rashad is coming. So for best of the rest. So I know for a fact. I would be shocked. The world would be spinning backwards if he's already signed up.
No, definitely not signed up.
He's coming. I know.
The cheese.
Yeah, the cheese. He's been playing a lot of games, getting back into it.
Awesome stuff. Well, maybe let's throw it over to Matt. We got Matt on to join us to talk about all kinds of great social media stuff like live streaming, but we also have a matchup cast, and we'll just turn it over to Matt and let him tell us all the great details about what's got planned.
Yeah, so we've got a whole host of things planned for the live stream. Our general goal is we're going to have 3 different tables being live streamed at the event, 1 for Best of the Rest and 2 for the Masters themselves. Since they start at slightly different times, we'll basically have 2 tables going initially, and then we'll pick up the Best of the Rest table as they get started, basically, and then we'll commentate through the whole thing. We'll have Grant Barnes there with me as co-commentator for the actual live people at the event. My plan is to do what we did at Lone Wolf and the 2021. At this point, I've kind of lost track. So the Dallas Masters. The plan is to have a Discord where people can jump in and help commentate if they want. If that gets out of hand, then I'll just limit the amount of people we have in at one time and create a list. But the goal is to have anyone who wants to jump in and join in on the commentary can do that. And then we want to have a whole bunch of things leading up to that. We want to have a matchup cast that is done similar to what we did for Lone Wolf this year, where we're going to do a fantasy draft. So we're going to put out a survey that people can fill out where it's going to be, you're going to pick who you think is going to win their first round matchups. And that's going to be for the matchup cast. But in addition to that, we're going to have a section where it's basically pick who you think is going to finish overall, or pick your top 5, basically. I haven't sorted out the exact details yet, but it's going to be, you're going to draft a team of players that you think are going to position highest. And then whoever, we're going to do a giveaway basically on whoever gets the closest to that, and tiebreakers will be whoever picked the most correct round 1 matchups. So we're hoping to have that be a little bit more fun and interactive for the community so they can do that. And then over the course of the streams, we plan to do some giveaways as well, basically. So if you're watching the stream, we'll do some giveaways part of the way through just as a thank you for the community and tuning in. And yeah, it's all very exciting. In terms of like the actual goals of the tables, we got 1920 cameras. I've tried 4K before. I don't usually see a huge difference in terms of like what you're actually going to get. Dice are still readable on the tables as long as the internet's good. So it more depends on what they actually are using for dice. So dice with big pips are typically a little bit easier to see. But we've done that before. It'll probably get a little bit hectic once we got all 3 tables running at once. We'll probably be bouncing back and forth pretty quick in some of the later rounds where the action's getting hot and heavy. The earlier rounds will probably be more like a golf commentary where it's going to be, let's see them wind up this pitch type of deal. See them wind up this charge, plan this flank. I have Mike Grant currently has volunteered to do player profiles. So we've got that coming for the matchup cast as well, where when we do the matchups, we'll also have basically a showcase of the players that are coming. So people who may not know who they are, may not know who these names in their community are, can learn a little bit about those players, the events they qualified in, what armies they're going to play or what armies they play. And yeah, we're really, really excited to be bringing this content to y'all. It's going to be through YouTube. So we're not going to do Twitch this year. Twitch is nice. It's great for me because it helps boost my viewership and gets me some nice feedback. But ultimately, for the sake of people watching, I think there's a lot more people who have either YouTube Red or some kind of ad blocker to, not have to watch ads, because I know everyone hates ads. So that way it'll be a little bit more consistent. It also means that when we're done, it'll already be up there on YouTube for people to go back and rewatch, pick your favorite moments, all that kind of stuff. So that will make life a lot easier, because last time I had to save 20 hours of footage and then get it all uploaded, which was a fun time. So
yeah, it sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah. But we're happy to do it. We're happy to get all this up and running for the community. We've already got the equipment up there. Adam and I had to do a transfer to get what amounts to several say like 100 pounds worth of PVC pipe all the way from Austin, Texas to Omaha, Nebraska. So, just a casual 12-hour drive.
No big deal.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that's the general game plan. We'll be casting the whole time. I might, if people want to support that, if people want to help out with that, we've got funding for the event just fine. But if people want to support either me specifically or Grant, I might put up like a donation link. My biggest thing would be like, hey, go follow my Twitch. And so that supports me and costs you literally nothing. Just follow it. So
that's awesome. I love that Donnie's little flex here. He's like, 7 Masters players from Minnesota. Now, are they all on the Midwest team?
They are. Yeah.
So
You know,
7
not-
out of 8 players for the Midwest.
Yeah.
from
It's
Minnesota?
Eric Trowbridge and 7 Minnesota.
You know, I have a question though. Is it because they found a loophole where they just run a ton of events in Minnesota that they can box everybody out, or they're just that talented?
I mean, we get to play the Minnesotans quite a bit, so I'll let Travis answer that question.
Good number of them were at Adepticon. A good number, Dragonfall. There was a decent number that went to Dragonfall.
Almost all of them come to
They
Bug
almost
Eater.
always come to Bug Eater. Yeah.
Yeah, Donnie goes to so many
And
tournaments.
then Donnie, yeah.
That's how I
Go for a
imagine
journey.
him on his way to tournaments. Is that he's climbing mountains and going over rocks on his way to get to tournaments.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's a big flex though. 7 out of 8 players, right? It's and I'm assuming this isn't one of those situations where they're just taking anybody, right? These are legitimately the peeps that have been showing up and winning events and playing well.
I think they had one of their top 8 players drop. So 6 out of their 8 top for the region were Minnesota, and I think the next 2 or 3 were also Minnesota. So numbers 9, 10, and 11 as well.
So no having to go down to 40th place or whatever like some shall
Like
not be
us.
named.
Sure.
Like we normally do.
Yeah, we normally have to get there, but lucky enough, that's not the case this year. We're only going down to what, 10th, 11th. That makes Michael Sigler the number 1 player in the mountain region. So
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
Oh my
no.
gosh! I remember back to the days when we had it in Nashville, and it was you, Travis, and it was Adam, Travis, and JT, and Valdez, right? The 4 of you guys were the only ones we had for the mountain region, I think, and then you had to have 4 ringers.
yeah.
So I met Jesse for the first time because I think he was playing for the Midwest. I think that's right. But yeah, good time. That first one was a lot of fun. We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chicago Masters. There was Rashad, myself, and Kyle Timberlake, and that was it. And we had
For the West Coast, yeah. It's
for
funny.
West Coast. So.
It's funny how things have evolved though. Now most of the depending on obviously location, like last year with it being in Seattle, that's a cost to go to Seattle. So I know that was a hindrance, but typically if it's in a place where a lot of different regions have it's drivable to get there. I mean, it's a slugfest. I know the Southeast is like that. I mean, we got a lot of great players. Keith seems to manage to find a way to stay on top. But I noticed he's dodging Jeff because he's not coming to Kings of Memphis. So I don't know. Too much talent with Travis Tim and Bryce Clark, Nathan Clevenger, George O'Connell. So I don't know. It's too difficult. I get it.
I mean, coming from a fellow elf player, Keith's response will easily be, I won it last year. Why do I need to go back?
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. Good point. Oh, okay. Well, he just has that sign up late. Okay. All right. That's fine. That's a fair. I mean, so does Travis. I had to remind him, hey, by the way, sign up.
I signed up tonight. It's done.
Yeah,
It's
I think
official.
we're at like 30. I think we're at 30. So we'll take a couple more. We'll cap it at 32 just because we're playing in the store. When we start to get more than 32, it's like, I don't know. But Travis, you were there last year. I mean, it's a good sized store, but
It's
32
nice,
players
yeah.
in a store that big, of that size. Okay, that's enough, right? So should be a lot of fun. Oh, what do we got? Are you an elf? Oh yeah, that's a great question.
I've won more events than you have with elves recently, Jason. Just saying.
Man, we do have a good episode with Jason that we recorded about our favorite tournaments and events with me, him, and Trent. That'll be coming out soon. So that was a really great episode that we recorded.
Mm-hmm. Jason reminds me of that line in Major League when he's talking about it's okay to lose when you do it colorfully. So he's got the one of the most colorful losses in the history of losses.
He does. I mean, if you're gonna lose, that's it's memorable. It's like the
Have
Persians
nothing
in the
die
Battle of
and
300,
lose.
right? Yeah, the Battle of Thermopylae, right? Like if you're gonna lose,
Lose
Make
to
it
the
memorable.
best.
Yeah,
Is
do
that,
lose
is
to the
that what
best.
that's all I heard here.
Do it
Well,
with
lose to the
style.
winner. There's no shame in losing to the winner of the event.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm like, if the winner wants to blow me out, that's great. That's fine. Well, Jeremy, let's touch a little bit on the firefight that you have some plans for. I know we touched about it in our episode that came out Wednesday, but
Sure.
you had some more time to give it some thought.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a Friday afternoon, evening firefight. Stay tuned. The pack is going to be released, and all the information will be put up on the same website as all the Kings of War Master stuff. We're going to be looking at sort of two separate things running concurrently. We're going to have 2 demo tables set up. So one demo table is going to be run by myself. One demo table is going to be run by Tyler. So the demo tables will be, I've never played Firefight. What is this game? I want to do something from, I've never seen it before. We're also going to be running a 3-game Firefight casual tournament, a la something similar to Adepticon. So 1,000 points. And for something special for that list is we're going to have, you can either bring your own army, or we're going to have a limited amount of 1,000-point painted armies that you can sign up and use for the event. You may not know which army you're going to get until you get there. So that's surprise spices the dish. So when we have signups, there'll be X amount of spots for the Firefight tournament that will have an army provided for that you'll sign up. So you'll get a chance to play in a Firefight event. And the idea for that is, let's say you've played Firefight a couple times already, so the demo is maybe not for you. But let's say you haven't finished painting your army, or you're bringing your Kings of War army and don't have room to bring your Firefight army. We'll have a limited amount of armies there. But then we're also going to be giving a really cool hobby award, and that will be for people who bring their Firefight army. So we're trying to hit all the sides of the triangle, right? There'll be something Firefight for you to do if you've never done it, never even seen it. There'll be something if you want to play an organized play. And there'll be something if you're really proud of the Firefight army that you painted and you want to come and show it off to the hundreds of people at Masters. Bring it. And then, yeah, exactly. We have and this shows you the awesome community. We have a lot of people donating 1,000-point Firefight armies to be used in this event. So just if you come and borrow an army, of course, treat it like you treat your own your baby. But a lot of the people in the Firefight community are coming together to have content, have stuff for people to do no matter where you are at your Firefight journey. Rob and I are going to be, Countercharge is going to be sponsoring dinner. So we will have pizza brought in for everyone taking part in the Firefight day, whether you're doing the demo or you're playing in the tournament. Probably looking to start for travel plans, probably looking to start maybe 2 or 3 and finish up by 9-ish. Because we'll do 3 rounds, 2-hour rounds with a little dinner break. And then we're probably going to have a couple different windows for demos. Like we'll do a 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock demo, and then like a 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock demo. So you'll be able to sign up sort of for which bracket of demo time you want to do. And then you'll come in, we'll take you through the event, or take you through the rules, etc. So it's going to be really cool. We're really excited. And then we'll have all that stuff set up. Will be set up for Saturday evening as well. So if you want to get some Firefight games in, but you can't make it on Friday, the Firefight section, since one of the awesome things about the Bug Eater location that we're using for Masters is of how much space. So we'll have sci-fi stuff set up to play Firefight. If you want to condense it to play Dead Zone or whatever, we'll have a whole sci-fi section set up that will stay set up through Saturday evening as well. So going to be tons of great prizes. We're going to be raffling off 2-player starter sets of Firefight for those, as part of, helping new players get into it. We're going to have some of the Strike Force. Those are those nice army starter kits, battle forces. We'll have some of those to give away. I'm hoping to have some cool, prizes for the painting challenge award and stuff like that. So we're really excited, but there will be a pack release for that probably the beginning of this next week with all the details and then all the links on how to sign up for that. But there'll be a little bit of everything for everyone. So super excited.
And we need to give Kyle a shout out because he actually was able to give his access to StreamYard, so we can actually tell him that it's Kyle.
Nice.
Right? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'll reach out to you, Kyle, through direct message and get a figure it out on contributing. Probably we're looking at.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say he's been guilted into it. Look at that.
Bought a ticket.
He bought a ticket. He's got to get his shot at the. He's got to get a shot at the Adepticon King.
I'll just do a final thing. Numbers wise, we're probably going to be looking to 4 players per so 2 per side on the demo tables, 2 to 3 playing, and then of course you can watch and hang out. And then for the tournament, I'm thinking, depending on what the interest is, we'll probably have maybe 10 armies ish. We'll have more details, but we'll probably have between 10 and 12 armies to be borrowed, give or take. And then it just will be after those will be first come, first serve. So if you sign up for the event, on the sign up, there'll be a box that you check. I need to borrow an army. And then once we go through all the armies that are there, you're still more than welcome to sign up for the event. We'll probably cap it at 20 players, something like that. But beyond that army availability, then it will be, you'll have to, organize to bring your own models, but it will be 1,000 points, which is small, 2-hour rounds, plenty enough time. So still very much within that avenue of this is a new game. It's going to be a tournament, but it's going to be like a fun tournament. So it's not going to be, not hardcore. It's just a organized play experience that people can have to learn Firefight.
So bring all your skyscrapers.
All right, I won't bring skyscrapers.
I mean, you could do what you want to do, but then you're going to have someone on a podcast every time they talk about you, talk about your BS army.
Yeah.
I wish we got to play, Jeremy, because then you could talk about my BS army.
Well, I mean, to me, at least, like smoke abuse is like egalitarian in some way, because it's like, you're not doing anything to me right now. I can't see you, but at least half my army's not dead before I get to do anything. So
smoke abuse and only like 60 zombies and 1,000 points. It's no big deal.
But then once you beat me, I will have killed stuff. So then I'll feel good about myself.
I let you kill stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, it won't be my whole army is dead at the top of turn 3, and I have an hour and 15 minutes to walk around in the last round of the tournament. So,
Sorry.
But it is what it is.
For
we all
early
know who the real.
And that was the first official tournament.
We know who the jerks are here, and we know who the good guys are here. So that's all that matters.
The unit seemed good, so I took 2 of them.
Don't see the issue with that.
It's will fix that.
But super excited.
Just a real quick call out for folks that maybe Firefight's not your thing, or that event gets filled up and you're looking for what else can I do on Friday. We will have access to the hospitality room in the morning. So that's going to be Travis's job to get that all set up and ready to go. So you can start boozing probably come early morning or late morning, early afternoon at the latest. So hang out there, hang out at the venue. We're going to have plenty of people around, plenty of things to do. So
I love the fact that this is Tim Lonis. He just didn't give access to StreamYard. So an Omaha guy's making that comment. You guys are so self-deprecating.
I will say this: we're going to have a lot of fun stuff as far as the theme for the Firefight stuff, because we're going to be battling over Omaria Prime, which is the GCPS homeworld for all their bovine experiments, or all the best cows come from this planet. So everyone's there for their to get the good steaks, but there's a hidden mystery underneath the surface. So
how apropos, given the thing's called a mule, right? It's definitely barnyard,
and it's in Omaha. So
exactly,
gotta have the beef.
Definitely need some tractors,
but it's going to be fun. We'll have
cornfields.
We'll have raffles, we'll have prizes, we'll have a good time. I know Tyler, we're probably going to try to fill some stuff for his YouTube channel, get some people on our show. We'll have all our recording equipment set up. So good opportunity to check out Firefight if you've been curious about it.
No, I'm excited. I think it's going to be great to get more people. It's funny because everybody that's tried it love it. right?
Yep.
Typically, right? It's just a super simple game. The rules just get out of your way and just let you have a sci-fi.
And if you make a
scrap.
firefight army, you can now play Dead Zone. So make an army, you get to play 2 games. Yes, and Luke, they've been working on some new interesting firefight scoring that he's going to be sending my way. So we're going to be looking at all that information. Like I said, we'll put a pack together with all the details, which will get released here in the next week.
It's amazing stuff. So maybe a question, Adam, you got any events between now and Masters?
Yeah, I guess Bug Eater.
That's coming up in June, right?
Yeah, we're just 2 weeks out from that, so Matt will be hanging out with us, and it's going to be a lot of us here in the mountain region. A lot of the Minnesota guys are making it down. We're looking at a little bit less numbers wise due to the Masters and Best of the Rest being so close to the event, but. So a little bit less travel group. I know Rob and a bunch of the Southeast guys make a good showing. Same with the Texas guys, usually bring out 5 or 6. We've only guilted Matt into coming, so
it'll probably be less Texas people just because Masters, which I suspect is going to be a universal thing with them being so close.
But it sounds like all of Texas is coming to Omaha for Masters and Best of the Rest, so it's going to be a pretty sweet sight.
It's like 20 people, between Best of the Rest and Masters, I think, from the South. So it's getting pretty spicy.
Luke's got a good question, and we should talk about the Night Stalkers drop today. What's the status here on the 2023 beta rules for Night Stalkers?
Oh, they're definitely not being played at Masters.
Yeah.
No, we've run into some issues in previous Masters where rules changes or new units have come out a little bit too close to events.
Is this something that maybe it would have affected a player that's on the cast?
He's like Mr. Bone Guy over here. It's like,
maybe.
You guys.
Just one time. That one time.
He's still salty.
I would have been fine if I could have changed my list after the changes were implemented, but I got shut down on that too. So
you handled it like a gentleman, though, I must say.
I
did not even play
my best. Yeah, Luke, come play and then you can boo. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's right.
You're gonna fly over and play Best of the Rest, then you can complain about there not being 2023 Night Stalker rules.
Right. Yeah, but our cutoff for any rules changes and stuff has already passed. So thankfully, and I know a big shout out and thank you to Mantic for this. Thankfully, the Compendium has not foregone the army, the Night Stalker army that before these changes. They've just created a new separate list on there. So makes it a lot easier when we go to check lists and make sure everything's on the up and up.
It's funny because when we were at Adepticon, we were in line because you do that, right? Because Adepticon lines. And we were in line with some Infinity folks, and they had explained that Corvus Belli just made a change to some rules, and they don't do that. But the events wouldn't let them play with the new stuff. So they had to make sure the day before the rules get implemented, they would print their list out. Because after that, once it gets rolled in, they can't make the legal lists anymore. So it's agreed. I think it's awesome that Mantic made a separate entry for the 2023 Night Stalker changes. Just to keep it clear, it's very obvious if you're using the beta rule. And they did the same thing in Firefight, right? So I mean, it's really cool that you have this access. And I don't maybe Travis, what are your thoughts on that? I love the fact that we're able to roll out new stuff like this without having to wait to Clash of Kings.
I like it. I think it gives everyone the opportunity to even try it and give feedback because it's not set in stone, right? By putting it out there for everyone to see, it gives more possibilities of positive input to the group.
People get to be part of the solution, right?
And right. Yep, exactly. Thank you, Jeremy. Because, I know with Maison Labs, there was a few changes after the fact still in the background going on. even at Adepticon, because Felix tried the army, and there was a few tweaks that probably will be seen going forward from what he was talking about. Because you get playtesters, you only get so many, and you get a short amount of time to try to roll stuff out, and we're all humans. Nothing's ever perfect. Having more and more people play them just makes it better. Might not make everyone happy, but
well, if their goal is to make everyone happy, they're in the wrong business.
Right? No. Adam, you're yeah. I mean, it's a good topic lately, right? Making people happy, but it's a can't win. It's a can't win situation, right? So on one hand, you got some folks that are like, oh, well, they're adding changes outside the book, and it's made my book obsolete. Well, these are beta rules. My assumption is that we'll play with them in Companion. They'll lock them down, and then at some point, probably Clash of Kings this year, they'll be in the book, the final version. So, and up until that point, if you don't want to use the beta rules, then just keep using the old ones. That's fine, right? I mean, I don't know about events. I mean, a Bug Eater, are you guys? I'm assuming no New Night Stalker's a Bug Eater either, right?
No, they were just dropped. We're 2 weeks out.
Exactly.
Lists are actually due on Wednesday, so it's just a little bit too close for them. But what about you, Rob? You got an event coming up.
Yeah, we're about a month out. I think it's I've already got lists. So I think at this point, the ship has sailed. They've already got people turn their lists in. I mean, Travis, he wasn't messing around. He sent me 2 lists just in case he actually doesn't get his hobby back together.
They're getting there.
Rob, he's not getting that done.
I understand, but to his credit, at least he acknowledges the fact that he's got a deficiency, and it's a hobby blind spot. So he sent me the backup plan, which is goblins. And to be fair, if he brings the goblins, maybe the real Goblin Kings can show him how to play them.
Yeah, I will say, based on even just between these 3 events alone, and I'm sure there are more across the entire states. Big shout out to Elliot Barrett for giving us an option to have those lists separate, at least for now, at least for a little bit. Because it would be a big hangover for all the different tournament organizers if they had to go through and then double check, and hopefully I'll be able to get like a change log out or something for those. But even with a change log, like, you're gonna have to check every single list, every single individual unit to make sure that they're correct. That would be a nightmare.
Right. And I mean, for Night Stalkers, the changes, there's a couple units that are brand new, but then there's, 3 or 4 units that got some minor tweaks. So it's really tough for if there's an army that's going to be using those particular models. Like if somebody has a terror, and there was only the new rules for that terror out, it's a little deceptive when you hand your opponent a list. So,
right.
Again, it's very much appreciated.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should talk a little about, Adam, obviously we got a couple play testers on here. I mean, that have been playing these guys for a bit. What are kind of your initial observations on these beta rules that have come out for Night Stalkers?
I like them a lot. I like most of the units. I think most of the units are fair and balanced and add an additional play style to the Night Stalker army that wasn't there before. So I think the main one that adds a brand new style is the new what are they calling them? Are they Tormentors or
Tormentors? Yeah.
No,
Tormentors are the not leapers.
Yeah, gotcha. No, the Ravengers, I believe.
Yeah. Ravagers are the similar to Boomer.
Yeah, so you actually have, a dedicated shooting unit that unlocks, and you could definitely go hard into a shooting style Night Stalkers list with these guys. So I think that's going to be probably the biggest change to, the army. before, when you see Night Stalkers listed and without seeing a list, you're immediately thinking, okay, it's a melee focused army, maybe a little bit of lightning bolt with the Mind Screeches. But now maybe it's that, maybe it's 3 hordes of these Ravengers, and you're just looking at a gun line basically. So you won't know for sure until you see a list, because they just have a lot of ways they can play.
And we talked a little bit earlier, right? The Ravagers are very similar to the Boomers, with the big difference being they don't have brutal. They have stealthy.
They got stealthy. Yeah, defense 4 against counter shooting can be tough, right? But that stealthy is a nice little difference in that unit.
Yeah, I didn't want to encourage more than that, Luke. Come on.
They call us gamers. Jeez, Adam. Luke's
No
on here
kidding.
just standing us up. Damn.
I always thought that. I thought
Australians, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I've always been told that Australia has self-restraint.
Exactly,
Yeah,
Rob.
good.
Yeah, that's what Matt always tells me. So
Let's clarify. Australia does. Luke does not.
so is
Well,
it really Australian? Is the question. I guess.
According to Matt, Luke is from some part where they like hose you down in the back country. So it's like some part. I don't know very much about the geography of
it's basically
Australia.
where we live then, where there's nothing but cows and corn, apparently.
I've been told that that's the area
a
of
couple
Australia
tractors.
in which Luke lives. Yes, that's
Zero mountains.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What we talked a little bit about obviously the Ravagers. What are your thoughts on the Tormentors? Anybody?
I love
them.
Tormentors, and
Especially
especially
torment some people.
especially in the list that I was running at Masters last year. I think troops of those guys
Yeah, that's my boy.
are just perfect. So
That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking
I
about, Luke.
The new rule though, the Leaper rule, where you get treated as height 3, I think that's cool because it's going to open up some new play styles or a new play mechanic that we haven't seen before. So that'll be because not only do that, they also fly, right? So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
fly nimble strider, great combination.
I mean, the mechanic's similar to the Wrangler, the Croc Dog.
Sure, but he can't.
Similar.
He can go through. Yeah, you're right because he can go through the legs
It's
of the
same
ogres.
general idea. It just this is
I think it's really interesting to start seeing Strider on not just big monsters, but seeing it put on units as well. I think is new and interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In terms of the actual design of the unit, the goal was to the challenge was finding a spot within the Night Stalker list where these guys were going to fit, because Night Stalkers have a lot of infantry options already. You've got Reapers, you've got Doppelgangers, you got Scarecrows, you got Bloodworms, you've got, you can see it right there on that list.
infantry heavy.
You got Phantoms, you got, then you got heavy infantry and all these other things. So you've got so many different types of infantry, and they all play ever so slightly differently, right? So like you've got Phantoms that are already kind of a flying chaff piece, right? So it couldn't be that. We can't do that. You've got Soul Flayers, which are already a fast, hard-hitting piece, so you can't quite do that, right? So like you've got Reapers that are a slower, harder-hitting piece, so you can't do that. So finding a spot where they would fit that actually does something different and unique within the list was, I think, the challenge, and I think they ended up in about as perfect a spot as they could have. So it's not going to be something that I think everyone will take, which I think is fine. I think that's kind of the sweet spot, right? Is you want it to be an option. You want people to be like, I might try to build into this, or I might try to do this type of thing. So like, will you take Reapers, which is going to have better output normally, right? They're cheaper. They're going to have better output if you're just fighting not in trees. The big thing Tormentors bring to the table, I think, is actually Strider, because built-in Strider on those regiments, now you can just take, and because you don't have to worry about being in the front line because you've got this height rule and you've got decent speed at speed 7, so you can hide them behind Scarecrows. You take like a +1 to hit item or crushing or Bane Chant that or any of the other abilities.
Good.
Yeah, like you have a lot of ways to utilize those and throw them in from a safe distance and also get better output at that point. So
yeah, it's interesting to look at them compared to Reapers. A little bit faster, as you alluded to, but a little bit softer, and since they're defense 3.
Yeah,
so
and definitely
obviously more
glass canopy.
expensive. Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's cool because I think it's risk and reward.
Yeah, and 210 points for a defense 3 regiment is also not cheap either. So you can't just throw these out willy-nilly, right? You gotta deliver them. So I think that there is some like this would not be a great unit to spam per se. It's just so fragile. But if you deliver these guys, man, when your opponent least expect it, it's going to feel good.
Yep.
That's fantastic. And I guess the other big one, I know the Terror made some big changes, right? Somebody want to tackle that one?
I love the Terror.
I mean, it's just cool. Rampage 8. That's just awesome.
I'm
That's
not
20
biased about
attacks
it at all.
Yeah, you're not. Well, that's fair.
The Rampage idea, the goal was so Shadow Hulks are like the monster of the list, right? Like Mind Screecher's the other one. Everyone loves their Mind Screeches. You got that nice lightning bolt, the nice wind blast. It's super cost efficient for what you get out of it. The Shadow Hulk, on the other hand, is your beat stick monster, right? You got dash 20, defense 5, stealthy, which effectively means it's defense 6 against shooting. Like, it's ridiculously good against large infantry with D3 Slayer and hitting on 3s and crush 3s. So it's just a really, really cost-effective monster. And the old Terror just kind of struggled. It wasn't durable enough, even with stealthy against shooting, to really be a roadblock, which was its other thing. And the big problem was that the Shadow Hulk just did everything the Terror did better. Like, it did it differently, but it did it better because that high defense, high nerve, it was better at tanking stuff than the Ensnare region was. And the attacks, you had Crush 3 and you had more of them in most cases. So, like, it was better at that. So the Terror just didn't have a spot. So the big goal there was to try and how could we make it not compete with the Shadow Hulk and actually have its own role? And that's why it has Rampage 8. Like, the goal is if the Shadow Hulk has Slayer, this one has Rampage. So the Shadow Hulk will be a tech option to go against big heavy hitters. The Terror is your option to fight off infantry, and then again adjust the defense a little to fix up that. The 18-19 nerve is intentional for people wondering. That's not an error. That was to help bring down the cost a little bit because we didn't want it to get too expensive. The speed dropping, similar. That was another thing where it's like speed 7 isn't required for that type of unit. So trying to find ways to cut the cost to keep it good because Rampage 8 had to cost something. But it's
1820 would have been amazing, but you would have had to pay for it, right? I mean,
right, exactly. Or Fearless 19, which is what it was before. So it's so had to bring that down a little bit, and then it's crushing 1 instead of 2, but that fits into its role as being an infantry muncher as opposed to a just kind of jack of all trades midline thing, which is what it was before. So I don't think they'll be in every list, similar to Tormentors, but I think it's like if your meta is like super infantry heavy, I think you see Terrors instead of Shadow Hulks now, which is good. That's the idea. And even without it being an infantry heavy, because everyone's going to have at least some infantry. It's very rare to not see any infantry off the table.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the change, the removal of the Planner Apparition, but the change to the Mind Screech profile? Because I think that is pretty interesting. Maybe Matt, you could talk to us a little about sort of the design philosophy around that decision.
So, Kyle's talked about this on his video. So the big goal with Mantic is they want to make sure that if you're playing one of their armies, that you're able to, like, even if it's not that they're going to get rid of the option to use other models, right? Like, they're trying to still keep the game in that spot where if you're coming over from different games, or if you don't have access to Mantic models, or if you just want to do some creative, painting project, that kind of thing. STL is obviously becoming a huge deal, that you can still buy other models and use them, but they want to make sure that if they're releasing an army, that it has models representing those units. So the Mind Screech, the Planner was in a spot where Mantic was not going to be able to get that model out. So it was a case of it was probably going to get dropped. And because we know that it's a popular unit, like not necessarily a popular unit, but at least it has people using it, right? It was in a better spot than the Terror, in my opinion, because people were using that and the Terror almost no one was using. So the idea initially was because there were new models coming out for the Void Lurker to potentially merge it with that. But that was awkward because it's a bigger base and it's different. So the switch became the Mind Screech. And the biggest reason for that is, at least in terms of why the Mind Screech and not the Terror or some other model, like a Shadow Hulk or something, is that Mind Screeches are already really good. We see a lot of those. So having the option to, if you want to take 3 Mind Screeches, you're not able to take a planner, basically. And if you want to take 3 planners, you're not able to take a Mind Screech. So you cannot go super heavy spam into both. And the Radiance of Life and Heal is really good. It did lose the Ensnare and the Dread. I know that that's going to be sad for some people, but there's still other ways to get Dread in the list. And this does make it really good at its role at healing things.
Yeah, every other army in the game is looking at this in jealousy, saying 150-point support piece that's flying, scoring, and nimble, and has Radiance of Life and Heal. Like, Phoenixes aren't even that good.
Yeah.
So
Phoenixes are more expensive. To get Radiance of Life, it's more expensive than that.
Right. But then you still only have Heal 5.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
The
Well,
Phoenix-
don't forget the sweet breath, the attack. Come on, it's a sweet
Yeah,
breath.
I
I know.
know.
They have-
the
they have
Phoenix
a shooting-
does have a very
they
good
have-
shooting attack.
They have
And-
their own things going for them. But I'm just thinking,
Yeah.
a Phoenix is a good comparison as far
Yeah.
as a support piece goes that's built around, healing or has a dedicated heal option. So,
And I think with the new shooting option, Mind Fog now becomes better, right? Now that you have more ways to play shooting in the list, the shattering from Mind Fog is something that now this unit has something to do when it's not healing. So you want to throw a shattering on something, right, that you're shooting at, and then do Radiance of Life if you don't have anything to heal. I think it's it provides you some interesting. I love lists or units that provide interesting choices, right? You could do one or the other, and both are good. That's what I see when I do this list.
It should be noted, because people may not be able to tell from looking at the army builder here, but you cannot pick both. You cannot get a planner apparition that is also a singing apparition. Because God forbid you can get Lightning Bolt on a Radiance of Life.
but
Matt,
why not?
on the singer? On the singer, it's got Mind Fog 6. What's the thought? Do we need Mind Fog 6?
That's been
It's-
there forever.
It's
It's
Yeah.
a 666 reference.
okay.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can tell I don't play Night Stalkers. I just get beat by them, so it's fine.
And another thing to call out is that the Mind Screech base profile did lose Pathfinder.
Yes. My understanding was that was actually just an error. So we fixed it.
Oh. Well, we appreciate the air for all of us that played it.
Yeah. If the other ones that got changed, it was the Shadowhounds got a new rule to try.
Yeah,
and
let's
make them a
let's
little
let's
bit-
look at that, because that's a brand new rule, not just an adjustment.
Yeah, it is still a unique rule. I've seen a lot of people like looking at some of these and being like, so it'd be really cool if this unit gets it, and like these aren't necessarily gonna just be full on
Universal rules.
rules. Yeah. But we're not opposed to doing those types of things by any means. So this one was actually a different member's idea. I just like it a lot as a concept, because it effectively means when you're charging, if you're unhindered, you're hitting on 3s, but if you're hindered, you're hitting on 5s. Like, that's effectively what it does. So when they're unhindered, these guys are actually like light cav, basically. Like with 20 attacks on 3s and Thunder 1, they're gonna hit about the same as a unit of knights, a little bit less than that technically, but like barely. Which for their points is about right, because they're actually costed about the same as a unit of knights. They're just really fast. But if they're at all hindered whatsoever, then they're hitting worse.
And then
So
if they're countercharging, having taken damage in the previous
They hit
round, they hit on
yeah.
force then, right?
They hit on force.
Got it.
So without the ability to get Pathfinder Strider, that means that you can still play these. Like, they're still going to be one of those things where, like, you're going to get some really amazing charges, and you're going to have other games where if your opponent plays against them well, they'll force them to be hindered, and that'll make this.
I mean, who was playing Shadowhounds before? No one, right? So I
just
mean,
Nathan Clevenger.
I
Dustin
saw the
Howard.
formation.
There's a few people.
occasionally.
There's a few people.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I never saw.
Yeah.
There were a couple.
I saw the formation occasionally. That was the big one. But I think this gives a nice little game for you to play with, like a mini game, right? Because when we play Kings, we're not just playing Kings, we're playing like little mini games within Kings, right? Like you're trying to position your units to force charges into hindered terrain. You're trying to, block flanks with other units or buildings and whatnot. Like you're trying to do these little mini games. And this creates another one of those where it's like you have to have your units prevent these from getting an unhindered charge is going to hurt, and your opponent is trying to set up a position to where they can get an unhindered charge at all times.
playing counterplay, right? It's a really nice
Right.
playing counterplay
Yep.
unit.
Yeah. So
And I see this, and I just want to put Helm of the Drunken Ram on it and double down, saying I better not
yeah,
get
if you
I better
ever
not
give
get
me that,
hindered.
yeah, just smash you in the face. Yeah.
Just ultimate smash if they're running.
That's right.
They're frolicking through the fields.
So like that's
Put
a
it-
great item,
put
for
it-
them, right? Because you're not
Put it
gonna
on top of the hill and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sit there and be like, I got Thunder 3. What
I
up?
mean, that's what I do with the
Thunder Wolves,
Wolves.
Yeah.
Effectively, they're hitting on threes. So
Yep.
fun unit. I love it.
What other
Very
units
cool.
should we point out?
There was a technical change to the Butcher Fiend, or not Fiend, Flesh Ripper.
Butcher Flesh Ripper.
Yeah, they went up to 13-15 with Fury instead of Fearless. That's mostly just to match them with Butchers. It was always kind of weird that Butchers were 16-18, but Fury, because they used to be Fearless, right? Like they used to be
Yeah.
Fearless too, and then they went down.
And they're
to
like the hero
16
version of
Fury.
Butchers, so they should be
Yeah,
consistent with the Butcher.
So-
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So yeah, this is mostly a consistency change. It's the smallest of small technically nerfs with the points increase, but like you're also getting an extra nerve on top, so they're going to be tougher. So we'll see how that plays out.
I mean,
think
Adam will
they-
still have 3 in his
really
list,
good.
right?
Yeah. Like I still think they're really, really good.
See, that's what Matt's not saying. It's technically, mostly to make it match up, and then it's a little nerf to Adam's list is where he's really coming in.
Yeah. And then I think the Void Lurker got a new model, but the rules have remained unchanged. Void Lurkers are still doing really good, but that model is amazing. Like, holy crap.
Yes, it is. I get mine tomorrow. I got to go pick it up. I'm excited.
Yeah, that thing is great. I'm super psyched for that.
And the Dream Hunter dropped in points, didn't he?
He dropped a smidge. I think the general feeling with him compared to like a Vampire Lord was that he was just a little bit over compared to the options. So now he's a little more usable, especially as a unique character, as a limited character, just to make him a little bit more of a playable option. The big issue is he competes with Shaniqua, and Shaniqua is just really, really, really good. So the idea here is because it's not crushing, and because Dread's already kind of a popular thing in the list through other means, and his elite role is a little trickier to use because you do have to get him in base contact with stuff, as opposed to a horror, which gives you the exact same output change. So like Vicious and Elite are the same. They give you literally the exact same mathematical output change. So the horror's Vicious aura was so much easier to use that it felt kind of weird for the Dream Hunter to have this and not be able to really use it as well. So this just makes him a little bit more playable. It's a small, gradual, like, until we find the sweet spot. And then there was the formation, and I think that's it. I think those are the only things that we changed. We kept it pretty light. Yeah.
Yeah, you added tormentors into a formation with the Dream Hunter, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Formation's fun. It's a redeploy formation. That's a rule that I would like to potentially go through and tweak for all the other units that effectively have the exact same thing going on. So that may end up becoming a book rule. And I don't feel like that's confidential information to just say that. Because we've got the captain, we've got the Ratkin formation, we've got this formation.
I haven't looked at this yet. Can you take me through how does the redeploy work for this formation?
Well, if Rob clicks on it, so it should say
Add it to the list.
yeah.
Just add it to your list.
And
Go.
then
Which rule are we talking about? We talking about Nightmare?
the
Visitation?
hunters. It's
The
listed.
hunters.
It's the last thing on their list.
Right. Oh, these guys.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
the
Here we go.
hunters. So after deployment and after all scout moves have been completed by both players, but before rolling for first turn, this unit will be picked up and redeployed anywhere in the controlling player's deployment.
Well, that's
if
pretty
more
dope. That's even better than the captain, right? Because that's before
If-
scout.
If more than one unit shares this rule, then pick up all units first and then deploy them. Which that's one of the things looking at the those types of units, right? So if you look at the captain, the Ratkin one, the Riftforge Orc unit, which escapes my mind at this moment, Thunderseers, all those units have basically the same rule, right? So long term, what we'd like to do is potentially introduce that as just a game special rule, because once we've got a unique rule that like 5 different units have, it's no longer a unique rule, right? Like,
Yeah, and then for clarity's sake, at that point, just make a redeploy rule. You know,
Right,
or whatever you
exactly.
want to say. This unit has redeploy, and then it can be
because we're looking at a situation where it's like, what happens if you've got the captain on one side and this on the other side? Which one redeploys first, and how does that work? So having it become a rule with some clarification there, I think, is a long-term goal. But at least for now, this is kind of the midway point. But it's just meant to be a fun formation. It's not meant to be super competitive. Again, I'm not blind to the idea that people are probably going to take tormentors and troops, because that's going to be the easier type to use. That's why these are regiments. Formations are not meant to be just, hey, this unit is better, right? Like, it's just better to take the formation. It's meant to be, hey, you're probably not going to run these units.
Don't hate on my
So-
Elohai formation, bro. Bring that
Or the
thing
elves.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think we
of
all
the goals-
need. I think we all really need the Lady Iona formation back, please.
those ones were spicy, but the general goal is to try to make those units that aren't seeing play in certain sizes specifically, so they may be balanced within the game technically, but they're just not as optimal in those sizes, to make those a little bit more viable. So
Yeah,
that's why
that's a cool idea.
regiments.
Yeah, I like that idea.
But yeah, I think that's all the changes. We initially didn't fully know what the how these updates were going to run. So the idea was, is it just going to be new units, or are we going to do this type of change alongside them? And yeah, I think this works as long as we keep it. It does mean clash-wise will probably be a little bit lighter for Night Stalkers. So because you're seeing a lot of their changes front-loaded here, right? So, but there's some other stuff we've got planned for them too in that, so there will still be value for Night Stalkers in Clash.
Cool.
Yeah. Long term, the general goal is to also have formations be buildable out of the ambush boxes. So that's here. We've got the Reapers and the Boomers, or the Ravagers, basically. So you've got those units come in the ambush box. The idea is that if you get your ambush box and you're playing ambush, that those units will transfer right into Kings of War. Is also a general goal with formations moving forward. So, and I'm only saying that because Kyle's in the chat saying,
Making
so,
sure he's pointing
covering. I'm like covering my asshole's puckering, so I'm just like, yep, no, just making sure that's Kyle saying that, it's not me.
That's awesome.
So,
Yeah.
but
This is cool. I'm excited.
Don't want Matt Gilbert showing up at your house with like a hockey mask.
right. But yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome, dude.
excited for the changes. I think the goal was, because I know some people have been worried about power creep and that type of stuff. Like Mantic has made it clear, both like to us and how they want us to design things, and I think they've tried to make this public as well. Our goal is to release stuff into the stream that is Kings of War, right? Like if Kings of War is a river, we're not trying to dump water until it overflows. this stuff should just naturally play with the stuff that's already there. It should fit, and it should ideally stay within the balance of the game already. We're not trying to release a unit that's gonna, break the game and everyone, has to buy those units or else they just can't play the game anymore, that type of thing. We're trying to make sure that these things just fit nicely within the already established systems. So, and I personally feel like we've done an okay job here. But I'm happy for people to tell me that I'm full of shit. So.
And then
I agree.
Well, I think the barometer for us is just wait and see what Adam does. Right.
I already put the Night Stalkers on the shelf, so.
Oh, don't give me that shit. Come on.
Yeah. I'm playing DoD right now. When do we get updates on them, Matt?
Yeah. I know there was some talk. There's been some people who have asked, and I think this is okay to clarify because I know Kyle put out the video kind of explaining stuff, so I can chime in with that. I just can't expand too much on that, right? So if you haven't seen the video of Mantic's announcement for these Night Stalkers, Northern Alliance is next, and they've got a little bit of a larger rework compared to Night Stalkers. Night Stalkers are already in a really good place thematically, we think. Like they have a couple of army-wide rules that really set them apart. They've got Stealthy, they've got Mind Thirst, they've got a lot of unique elements to their list, right? Northern Alliance has been kind of in a weird spot where like they're not that much different from the other human armies to really feel special. Like, and they're also supposed to be this kind of mixed factional army, right? Like it's not supposed to be just humans. It's supposed to be like humans and naiads and elves and dwarves and like all these races coming together to like fight off whatever nasties are in the north and whatnot. So the goal with them was to really establish that as the theme of the list and to make it more thematic. And that's probably the furthest I can push the line on that without spoiling too much.
Well, that's okay. I can put.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anything, but what I read, but what I read when I hear that, I think, okay, we're not going to focus on the human elements, and maybe we look at the non-human elements.
Already reading into it too much. Reading into too much. But yeah, it's going to be. I think that one is. If in my mind, I'm far more excited for that update even than the Night Stalker update. Like this one was kind of the testing grounds for this, right? And then that one was like where we really went full out on what we can do with these mid-edition changes, or mid in between seasonal changes, I guess is how I put that. And then we're still working on the Clash book. We're still working on the Twilightkin book. Or not the Twilightkin book, sorry, the Twilightkin list that will be released in the Clash book at the end of the year. It's not coming soon, guys. It'll be in the Clash book. I think that has been stated, but I'll say that here so people can hear that. Like, it'll be in the Clash book. But holy crap, if we're talking like the hype train, right? So like we've got Night Stalkers now, and like this was a fun update. I know people are kind of seeing what this is looking like. Northern Alliance is next, and it's going to be even more hype for them in my mind. And then Twilightkin, I cannot express how excited I am for that.
Don't even I got to change my pants. You know?
It's gonna be
blow people's minds.
Yeah, and it's not like again, I'm not saying that as like an oh my god, Twilightkin are going to be the best faction in the world, like they're going to break the entire game. I just mean that like as an army that is cool and interesting, they're going to be great. So they're going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I can second that. Thematically, I love what I've seen with Twilightkin, and I think the community as a whole is really going to enjoy it. And as far as competitively, I think they're going to have a lot of options of what type of builds they can play as well. So
I think in the flavor and theme of that list design, you're continuing to see a maturation. I think in how rules are being designed for Kings of War as being really thematic and interesting and going cool together and being balanced, and it just feels like a more robust, fully flushed out idea.
Agreed. It's very clear that is on the forefront of the the rule changes when they when they make these types of changes. So.
Mm-hmm. And I know it's nice to hear from you guys, from you, Matt, and from Kyle. You're not saying what you can't say. Obviously, NDAs are real, but talking a little bit about, I think players like to know the thinking behind why you make the changes you make, right?
Yeah.
Not just like we made this change in a vacuum, but here's our philosophy. Here's our design notes. Here's what we're thinking, why we're making the changes we're making.
Right. I was actually going to do a Fanatics post about that today, but for those who don't know, I am horribly hungover. So it might have to wait till tomorrow. But I was actually going to do a post that kind of went through and was like, this was the thought process behind these units, at least from my perspective. I can't speak for every RC member, obviously, who should probably be announced, Kyle.
I was gonna say, was your Fanatics
at some point, because there's probably people watching this podcast who are like, who the fuck is this guy and what is he talking about? Like,
it's the royal we.
Yeah. But I do, we don't have, we're okay to talk about design choices, as long as, because that's not really like a spoiler once it's out, right? So yeah, I'm always happy.
Yeah.
You can catch me in the After Dark chat every once in a while, and I'm always happy to talk about like the design of the game and how I view things and listen to people's ideas. I don't always agree with everything, but that's kind of how this works, right? Like everyone's got different ideas. So otherwise,
I think it's just nice to hear. Sometimes players, I think, feel that like choices are just made, like you're shooting your 6 guns in the air going Yahoo! And it's like there's lots of play testing that goes into this, and thinking and debate and back and forth, and often there's work being done around this, right? It's not just like you guys are flipping coins or
I just edited all the Night Stalker stuff last night. That's all new. Like we didn't do any testing. We just last night I went through, I got Elliot Barrett to give me the login for the app and just edited all the spreadsheets, and that was it. That was all we did.
Smashed your face on the keyboard, and that's what came out. Yeah.
And I'll say again, even if the people have different ideas, the people who are trying to play test this game, I think still have in their heart the same end goal, right? They want to be the game as fun and as interesting and as dynamic and as balanced as you can make it, right?
No, I'm really happy with the direction that we've been going so far. I like what Mantic's been doing with Vault. I think Vault's a fantastic release. Like really, that's the big hype. Almost more than the Night Stalker release. I think Vault like swept the Fanatics and just the general Kings of War community by storm. That's a fantastic addition.
Yeah, I mean, Rob, did you notice just how many people were posting pictures of like stuff they printed from the vault? Like
they're
within a day or
pumped.
two. Yeah, they're like, hey,
pumped.
look at my unit of Hellstrikers. I printed. They're just going crazy.
We've talked about it a lot, right? Like that some of the resin models are expensive, right? And the reality is, it's not that it's an unfair price. It's just an expensive.
Just looking at Travis.
Yeah. Well, all right. So let's maybe Travis. Why don't you fill in the audience about what has transpired over the last week? Give us the background story.
Let's start all the way back to Lone Wolf real quick, Travis.
No, it's fine.
Let's start at Lone Wolf timeline. And what did you buy?
I don't mind, honestly, right? Because I love the game, I love the community, and I'll support Mantic. But I bought 4 boxes of fucking Hellstrikers, and then the then the Mantic Vault that drops. So
it drops 2 days after
after I bought 2 more boxes. So it hurt my soul a little bit. I called Adam right away and I went, is this really a thing, or someone, because a couple weeks prior, or a couple days prior to the last 2 boxes I bought, I talked to Kyle and asked him, how long are back orders and stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, you should probably go somewhere else and buy them. And I went, oh, well, great. And I did that and went and bought them. And then, thanks, Kyle.
Oh my god. Well, heavy is
I'm,
the brow.
I'm supporting
that
4
wears the
kids,
crown.
and I guess I need to support Mantic too. So they're my 5th child,
That's
apparently.
funny.
You're gonna see him at the pawn shop. Go. These are Adepticon medals. How much? How much? See
Yep.
him on a
Yeah, I'm gonna
Pawn
have to
Stars.
sell the Adepticon medals. Might have to sell a child at this point.
That's awesome.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, that's all right. It was just funny. As the timing was just, it was just like, wow, okay, seriously,
Well,
like,
I mean, for every one of your stories, I'm sure there's like I bought a bunch of halflings, but I purposely didn't buy aeronauts. It's not because I didn't want to. I didn't. And it just turns out that
yep,
I got
perfect.
lucky. So yeah, I mean, for every one of us that made off good in this exchange, there's the Travises in the in the community that that supported their local hobby store.
Yeah.
I will say I got my Rob. I'm using the Cronius as my reanimated behemoth. So I got my 2 Cronii in the mail this week from Troll Horde. God, I love those. I love those models, man. That is one of my favorite Mantic models.
By the way, we did pull a winner for the last month's hobby challenge. They haven't contacted me yet. So I guess I need to post on Facebook because I guess I didn't watch the live stream. So I'll have to post it so that the person, because he's actually from Europe, so maybe he missed it. We did it early though. We did it like at 2:00 our time, so that the folks in the UK and Europe could, if they wanted to. It's later there, but could still make it. But I guess I need to.
Was it Trent again? He's in.
It wasn't. It wasn't Trent. No.
Okay.
But no. It was Trent pulled the name. Fortunately,
Hold it. Yeah.
He pulled the name, but no.
Oh, Trent.
Oh, Trent. And for those that maybe missed that live stream, Trent shaved off his majestic Brad Pitt Fury styled mustache that we all loved. So, the world is a little bit diminished.
I was just waiting for him to be like, "I'm here with your pizza. This house must have great bedrooms. Can I come in with that porn stash?" But it's just like I didn't even know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know who's not signed up for Best of the Rest yet? It's Trent. So we need to get on that.
At least he has a legitimate excuse that he lives in Germany, right? At least he has a good excuse.
Das ist no excuse, yeah.
Well, yeah. We should. Well, his wife doesn't give him enough grief, so I guess we should fill that role. Well, guys, it's been fun. Is there anything we didn't touch on? I mean, just a reminder, we're only 6 weeks away from the middle of
we're just shy of 2 months, 15th, 16th
2 months.
of July.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I got a lot to paint. Oh my god.
About 8 weeks. A little over 8 weeks. So
I'm excited. Brett, like what Adam said in the opening, for those that didn't, this is a good comment here. This drives me crazy. I don't know about you guys. You guys can talk about this. This pisses me off that we never sign up on time. So what I've decided is I'm closing my event early. Fuck you. That's it. If you don't want to sign up, then you're not in. No more late signups. So I
love Angry Rob. Angry Rob is my favorite.
I was just like, well, for me, Adam,
get off my
for
lawn.
We got to plan food and stuff, right? Like, it's like, man, we got to, it's frustrating when people don't sign up. So I will say, in the community's defense, for me, when I made the post, they all, oh yeah, I'm signing up, and within a couple of days, they all did. But man, I wish we were more proactive and jumped on this stuff because it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know, Adam, Travis.
Yeah. There's still people that are coming to Bug Eater that haven't signed up. So, and that's 2 weeks away.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed, Felix.
I know we opened with it, so I'll refresh it. We'll have links probably posted with the packets for Best of the Rest and US Masters. I actually already created the links for the live streams for those 2 days, so they're actually technically they're already out there. You can already find where the video will end up being. I just haven't posted it yet because I'm trying to get that far ahead of it, because obviously at the same time we're working on Clash for RC stuff, and then I'm working on Streaming Masters for this stuff, which was not meant to be the plan, but here we are. So, but we'll have that up on YouTube again, as opposed to my Twitch. We'll have Grant Barnes. We'll have open Discord so people can jump in as they want. Again, we're going to do a fantasy draft. I will post that as soon as the list deadline hits. So get your lists in, or else people won't be able to vote for you. Sucks to be you. So get those lists in for Masters. Make Adam's life easy, make my life easy, and make your fantasy draft actually happen.
I'm actually going to be assigning your regional chairs whipping duty. So if you don't have your list in, I'm not going to find you. Your chair will.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And this comment from Keith. We don't do
excuses.
Yeah, we don't do excuses here. We do results.
Yeah,
all right.
That's right.
I don't have time for that.
As long as you pay Keith, you don't have to show up. It's fine.
That's true.
We understand.
Well,
as long as you
fair,
pay Rob.
I actually think he wasn't coming, so he wasn't even on my radar.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's. But we do have 2 spots left. If anybody wants them, they should probably grab them soon. Because I think we're up to 30 now.
When is it?
June. Oh God, you'd ask me that right now.
24.
20.
Oh, okay, so it's on Bucket or Cool. I can't make it even if I was
it's
going to
June
try.
23rd and 24th.
No, it's the end.
No,
of, yeah.
24th and 25th.
24th, 25th. Yeah.
24th, 25th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, end of June. Okay.
I'm going, but I
End of
don't know how
June.
I'm not going to Bug Eater then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't do 2 last minute plane tickets. It's already breaking my budget. So, but
hey, it's only 9 o'clock. It's only 9:30. I got goblins to paint, man.
yeah.
So on the topic of signing up, I have a lot of people that have paid for Masters and Best of the Rest, but they're not yet on the website. So please scroll up. The link to the tabletop score is here in the chat. Please just go create your account. It's as simple as searching for Masters and click sign up. That's all you have to do. And if you're thinking about going, just hit sign up anyway. You don't have to pay yet. I'll come hunt you down for payment later, but sign up, please.
Let's beat UK Clash of Kings, and then we can all make fun of Steve Hildred forever. So
That's right. How many do they have?
I think 140 plus.
Yeah,
140. I didn't know there were that many players in UK. So
yeah, Tom, try it now. I know they've had some fixes this week, so give it a shot.
That is a good call out. We did have a known issue with verifying emails earlier this week. That has been resolved. So if you were running into issues earlier, please try again, and you should get that solved. If you don't, just message me directly, and we'll get it fixed.
You could always DM them. Yeah,
what? Yeah.
Slip into his DMs.
Kyle, you're on my list. You haven't paid or signed up. Just calling you out here. Oh, wait. You signed up. All right.
Still calling you out.
Still calling you out. You haven't paid. Keith Randall, you haven't paid or signed up. I see you in the list. All right, we better end this. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep calling people out.
Reading names, guys. Shame names.
That's funny. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. Hopefully, if you got a little bit more information in terms of what's going on with Masters, Best of the Rest. We talked a little bit about what the firefight activities were going to be on Friday that Tyler and Jeremy are running. So be there, be square. I mean, we're at 100 players now. We'll definitely be we'll be over 100 by a wide margin. So I'm excited about that. And let's just get it. Let's get huge. I mean, we've never had a venue this big before. So let's fill it up.
Yeah. Let's take good use of it.
So much room for activities.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be impressed if we filled it up.
Yeah. I don't think I was telling Jeremy, we probably couldn't even fill up one of the gyms, much less both gyms. I mean, it's crazy.
We're going to need 500 players to fill this up. And you guys haven't even seen, there's a third gym that we have access to.
So there's a question of, we don't have to answer this, but man, you guys must be rich. That's like a high school from a John Hughes movie, man.
I mean, it's the nice part of town. We'll just leave it at that.
It's the newer.
But why wait, you live there too though, right?
Well, isn't that the case in
close.
The middle of nowhere? They have nothing else to spend their money on, so they make the high schools the nice place to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a nice high school.
It's similar to ones that are in Austin. So it just has an extra gym. Really, that's the big thing. Like it has 2 gyms, whereas most high schools I know had only 1 gym.
This one has 3 gyms and
or
its
3
own
gyms. Yeah,
and
that's
its own indoor pool. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty big.
More than basketball.
Well,
awesome, fellas. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really great too to chat about the night soccer. It's good timing for this, right? With the night soccer rules dropping today in Companion. So if you haven't, we kind of walked through some of those earlier. I'm sure to watch the Fanatics page. Matt will be posting some stuff up when he feels a little bit less inebriated tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be some discussion happening.
That won't happen.
Yeah. So no, thanks guys for coming on and chatting with us. And like I said, if you have any questions about Best of the Western Masters, Adam is 1 DM away.
The slip right in.
Yep.
Yeah, go to that guy.
That's right. And I'm usually pretty quick on the response, so
Exactly.
I try.
Well, Jeremy, you want to take us out, my friend?
Okay, guys, thanks for watching, and remember to always keep counter charging.